As the fight for racial justice rages on in 2020, a new movie reminds us just how long Black Americans have been fighting this fight. The 24th tells the true story of the Houston Riot of 1917, a revolt by Black soldiers against police brutality, starring Mykelti Williamson.
Gave it everything we had. Courage, blood, everything. In the end, there was our dead Black bodies on the ground and my eye. That lying son of a sailed off to the White House and took our credit. We don't matter, boy.
We do matter. We keep proving ourselves. Maybe things will change.
Only thing worse than the dumb is the blind one.
Well, hi, Mykelti. How are you?
Excellent. It's so nice to see you.
How are you with everything that's going on in the world?
I find things to do because I'm a musician. I play blues harmonica and a couple of other instruments. Done a lot of barbecuing.
Okay.
Lots of backyard barbecuing, and I've spent a lot of quality time with my family.
So tell me a little bit about this movie.
The Houston Riots of 1917 actually occurred when a group of Black troops who had been serving our nation were put upon by local police in Houston with a bunch of racist mistreatment. And they found out that the locals and the police were headed toward the base to bring their mob against the Black troops. And so the Black troops grabbed arms and went out and met these people. Yeah. And that's when this big riot ensued, and a lot of people lost their lives. But it sort of, to me, it resonated with the times that we're living through, because as a Black man, when I am pulled over, which is not that often, but when I am, 75% of the time, if it's a tail light out or something like that, there's a pistol pointed at my head. And I'm like, why do you have to have a pistol? Because my tail light is out. And so I chose to do this movie with Kevin Wilmot and with Trey and the rest of the cast because it's important. It goes to show that if we don't start looking out for one another, we're going to find ourselves at odds with one another. And it's not going to be pretty when it comes to a head.
Yeah, say that. That is the truth. You play Sergeant Hayes. Tell us about this man. Tell us about this character.
He's a man who was taught by his dad growing up that there's a certain way to get through American society. He worked up to sergeant, but other people who were not of color far surpassed him. And he knew that his dad's techniques didn't fit the times he lived in. And so he finally got fed up and decided to take the law in his own hands and start standing up to people. But by then it was too late.
What's it like taking on that type of Black man? You know, because there's this debate within the Black community of nonviolence versus, more radical ways of bringing about an end to racism.
Nonviolence does work in its proper context. Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. But nonviolence is the first option and should be for anyone at all times. Yeah. But for me to play this man, it's kind of scary because I'm a people person. I like people. So for me, the toughest thing about this character was actually having to pull the trigger and take life on screen. Yeah. And the men and women who played racist in the movies, none of them were racists.
Yeah.
I had conversation with all of them, and it was so tough for them.
Yeah.
It was difficult.
There's so many of these, stories that we, have never heard about because we're not taught about them in school. And therefore, people grow up and they never hear these stories. Now, I got to ask you, I'm a huge One Chicago fan. And I was surprised to learn that you're also directing some on PD and Med.
I'm actually going back to direct 2 episodes of Chicago Med for the new season. So I'll be quarantined for 2 months away from my family, but they get it.
You've talked about this in other interviews about thinking about moving away from acting. But where are you with that? Because I read somewhere that you really would prefer to kind of move into a life of service.
Absolutely. What I've been doing is helping a lot of actors get started with their careers and helping a lot of young directors get started with their careers. And it's been really satisfying. And the kinds of movies that I'm now starting to produce and direct is it's a tool to put people to work.
Well, you can catch Mykelti in the 24th, out now on video on demand and digital. Mykelti, thank you for all you do, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Get to that chiropractor's appointment.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.